Hi, I'm Olivia,
Hi, I'm Maggie.
and this is Girls Talk Film. And if you've been watching, you know that this week we're talking about anti-heroines.
Yes, we are. Last week was Antiheroes. This week we're doing a little bit of like a two-parter thing. We thought we'd
Yeah.
carry on. I'm much more excited for this than I was for last week's episode.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So I know I asked you last week who your favorite anti-hero was. Do you have a favorite anti-heroine?
That's hard because I have so many like literary and film anti-heroines that I love. Um Honestly, like Amy in Gone Girl is up there, and we're talking about Gone Girl today, obviously. Um Also, maybe to go like a little, I love Selena Kyle, Catwoman. Like, I love Catwoman comics. I love her in Batman comics.
Interesting you say that because I think Harley Quinn might be one of my favorites.
So valid.
Like, I think she's a great anti-heroine.
Oh, I guess I love Harley Quinn, but I love her when she's a villain. Like, I
Right.
prefer villainous Harley Quinn over like anti-hero Harley Quinn.
Okay, gotcha.
That's just a personal thing, though. Also, like, I mean, Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl, always writes the most incredible anti-heroines. I love all the characters in Sharp Objects. If anyone's either read or seen that, like, you know, and if you haven't, watch the show and read the book. Like, both are incredible.
Would you count Fleabag as an anti-heroine?
Yes.
Then she's one of mine too.
Oh, that's such a good pick.
Yeah, it was in my head and I was like, could you categorize her as that?
Yeah,
But yeah, I would
definitely.
say so.
That kind of brings up an interesting point, though, about anti-heroines, which with an anti-hero, so like a male anti-hero, often those characters are either like evil or really messed up, and we're still made to follow them and kind of maybe even made to enjoy them. Where an anti-heroine, I feel like, is so much broader because a lot of the times anti-heroines are just women who aren't that likable.
Yeah.
Like Fleabag, like, she's not evil, she's not a villain, she doesn't really do anything
right.
like,
She's not even
horrible.
like morally corrupt in any way. Like she's actually follows a lot of like the same morals that normal people have.
Exactly, but because she's just not that likable and not written to be that likable, she is classified as an anti-heroine.
Interesting segue to this first movie we're going to talk about today.
Oh, I'm slightly disappointed that we're kicking this off with negativity. But I'm going to be right up front. I hated this film. I hated it.
Hate's a very strong word.
And I mean it.
I knew this movie was not going to be for you. It's not for me either. I just want to clarify that. Our first movie today is from 2020, which just should tell you
Yeah.
it's not going to be great. It is Promising Young Woman, directed
Yes.
and written by Emerald Fennell. Yeah, this movie was just a mega disappointment because I actually really, really love the idea for the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think it could be a really incredible film.
100%.
And I know what it's trying to do, and I actually support what it wants to be, but it falls flat and it just disappoints.
This was a hard one to get through. I found myself kind of oscillating between being angry and annoyed the entire time, which is never really a good sign when you're watching a film. So yeah, it premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival and was acquired for distribution by Focus Features. It received a wide theatrical release in December 2020 and was nominated for 5 Academy Awards and won one. How it received nominations is beyond me. The fact that it got a win.
I'm sorry, Best Picture? This movie was nominated for, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It was nominated for Best Film Editing, Best Actress for Carey Mulligan, who is the star of the film, Best Director, and Best Picture, and it won Best Original Screenplay.
That, I'm sorry, Emerald Fennell. That year at the Oscars, this winning Best Original Screenplay
I can't.
just shows what slim pickings were because there was a pandemic going on.
Yeah. I mean, I just couldn't imagine that not one of the other screenplays that was nominated was not better than this. I feel like it's a low bar.
I want to look up like what other movies were or what other screenplays were nominated.
Definitely The Sound of Metal.
That's a great movie.
It's a great film with a great screenplay.
Yeah, that's insane because I would argue there's a lot of weak points in this movie that will...
Yes, and a lot of them revolve around the writing.
Well, I was going to say there's a lot of weak points, but the strongest, I mean, issue in this movie is the script.
Yeah, it is just, we'll get into it.
So the movie begins in a nightclub where 3 male friends are having drinks. They notice a young woman sitting by herself, and she appears to be very intoxicated, too drunk to stand up. This is our main character, Cassie, and Cassie's played by Carey Mulligan.
Yes, and the 3 men at the bar are having the most, like, it's as if you typed into ChatGPT, like, misogynistic male dialogue.
Yeah, like corporate bros being sexist.
It is the most cliche, like, oh, like, she's really drunk. Like, let's see if one of us can take her home. Like, ha, ha, ha. And it's so stupid. When the movie starts on this,
You clocked out.
Oh, I clocked out at this moment. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, if this is what this is, I'm not okay with it.
It reminded me of anyone who's been to college knows, or even maybe they do it in high school now too. These like improv, like theater people will come in and act out like college scenarios. So it's like,
yes,
what happens when you see a drunk girl at a party? And then they'll have like the theater people be like, hey man, she's pretty smoking. Like that's literally the level of like dialogue that we're dealing with.
That's barely an exaggeration from what the scene actually is.
Yeah, it just lacks so much authenticity.
Yeah. So one of the 3 guys, who's played by Adam Brody, weirdly.
There's a
lot of like semi-famous supporting cast in this.
Yeah, the casting is like actually one of the things I like about the movie.
It's the best thing about it.
I'll save it for later when we get into like more of the main characters, but I also am like low-key a fan of Adam Brody. So
yeah,
he was nice to see in this movie. I was like, okay, getting work.
Yeah.
But sucks that it's in this role. But
yeah,
okay.
like I'm happy you're doing something.
Yeah.
So Adam Brody approaches her kind of under this like nice guy guise of like wanting to make sure that she gets home safely. She is so drunk, like she's not even
she
really
can't
present.
speak. Yeah.
He ends up, of course, taking her back to his apartment and trying to take her clothes off. And all of a sudden, Cassie sits up completely sober, so she was faking it the whole time, and asks him what he's doing. He freezes. Boom. Title card.
I gotta say, aside from the writing, it's not a terrible way to start the movie. I wish it was done a little bit better.
Yeah. And I even liked what they follow up the title card with, which is her like walking home and she's eating a donut, but there's like some red like stain on her shirt. It's like, ooh, is it the donut or did she murder him? Big twist, she didn't.
She doesn't murder him now.
Yeah, big twist is
it's just jelly.
It's just jelly from the donut.
So we learn that Cassie is a 30-year-old medical school dropout who spends nights going to bars and clubs, pretending to be drunk, and then she confronts the men who attempt to take advantage of her. She has this like little notebook that she like crosses out and like writes their names. This doesn't really have a purpose.
No. Also, this whole thing that she does genuinely has nothing to do with the actual plot of the film.
No, it's more so just like, I don't know if she's proving a point to herself because, again, she doesn't do anything with this book. I thought it would come back later and she would like hold this, I don't know, maybe the climax of the movie was it would come back and she'd be like, look how many people take advantage of drunk girls. But we literally never see it again.
Yeah. It is gradually revealed that Cassie quit medical school after her friend Nina was publicly assaulted. Nina also dropped out after it happened and went on to commit suicide, while the man that assaulted her was acquitted and has gone on to be very successful.
Yes.
So Cassie's kind of like rage and mourning over her friend has just led her into this like anger spiral where she like doesn't really do anything all day. Like she works at a coffee shop.
Yeah, and she lives with her parents, and you can tell her parents are kind of like not disappointed, but upset that her daughter is like so stuck in this rage.
Yeah. And won't seem to like live life now that her friend's gone.
Right. She's very much still mourning the loss of her best friend. So one day, another former med school classmate, his name is Ryan. He's played by Bo Burnham. He's a pediatrician. He enters the coffee shop where Cassie works and recognizes her. They kind of banter. And by banter, I mean he is like trying to flirt with her and she's like coldly shutting him down. She gives him like a fake phone number and he leaves.
So later we see Cassie going to another bar. She's picked up by another sleazy guy who tries to pitch her his extremely sexist novel idea and coerce her into bed with him. When she reveals her sobriety to him, he all of a sudden is like, oh no, like I wasn't trying to do that. And she then calls him out for trying to take advantage of a drunk girl and then leaves. So it's like that's the reveal of the thing she does is she pretends to be drunk. Once they get her home, she reveals she's sober and then lectures them and leaves.
Barely lectures them. I mean, she just kind of like scolds them for 2 seconds and then walks out.
Yeah, it was
underwhelming for
so
sure.
underwhelming, so anticlimactic. And also, we'll see throughout the film, every single male character is the exact, like, stereotypical, poorly written, one-dimensional, like, misogynist.
I mean, they literally say the words. They're like, no, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy.
And
I'm like
multiple different ones say that, which, like, if this was just a better film with
a better script,
like, okay, like I get what it's trying to say. It's not that I don't understand it. I just don't think it's well done.
No, not at all. In fact, it's spoon feeding you the message and the characters and everything. Like, again, the fact that these men, when Cassie like kind of shows that she was pretending and they get so freaked out, they're like, no, I promise, like I'm a nice guy, I wouldn't do that. Well, you're not even that hot. It's just so stereotypical.
Exactly. It's also never addressed how, like, we talked about this a little bit earlier, how deeply unsafe it is that she's doing this. Like, what if some guy's like actually a violent person and like tries to attack you?
I literally said this off camera and I was like, and I think we both agreed that would have been actually a pretty interesting scene to see, like, Cassie kind of like show these guys like, oh, hey, I'm not actually drunk. And then they get angry.
Yeah.
And
that
it's like,
would have been tense and scary.
And also, I think tons of women can relate. Like, when haven't you been like asked out by a guy and when you say no, they get angry?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's a very real situation. Mm-hmm. So it would have been interesting to see Cassie kind of like try to find her way out of that situation.
Yes.
Or it could have been like a really good turning point for her of like, wait, why am I doing this? What does it actually accomplish?
Mm-hmm. And like, I'm really, all I'm doing is just putting myself in danger.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the danger of what she's doing is never touched upon in a film that's about like
the danger of
like being around men. Which is, it just feels like a missed opportunity.
And once again, like, there's no point to this exercise that she's doing.
Yeah, no, it's more just like that this is a thing she does and then the plot gets going. But this is just, I don't know, it doesn't really have anything to do with anything.
So Ryan comes back to the coffee shop and charms Cassie, who finally agrees to go out on a date with him. They start dating and he respects her request to take things slow. One day, Ryan reveals that Al Monroe, who is the man who attacked Cassie's friend Nina and got away with it, is getting married. Cassie is super angered by this news, so she begins to orchestrate a series of revenge plots against the people that she believes contributed to this guy Al getting away with Nina's attack and like ultimately leading to her suicide.
Yes.
And this is where I said to you, I was like, it would have been so much better if that was just what she was doing from the start of the movie.
Yes.
But she's not even motivated to get this revenge until Ryan brings it up to her. And then she like comes up with this plan. I was like, well then what, again, what's the point of, I thought she was doing that as part of her plan to get revenge on this guy.
Nope, just a thing she does.
Yeah, so again, it just doesn't make sense. It would have been better if the movie just started with her hearing that he was getting married.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know why we needed to see those scenes of her pretending to be drunk.
And also, if Cassie is so obsessed with like, and so stuck on Nina and like what happened to her and everything, you think she would take the initiative to do that?
Like, she's like obsessive about this.
Yeah, it's the only thing she thinks about, the only thing she does. Whatever.
So her first revenge target is her old classmate Madison, who's played by Alison Brie. And honestly, Alison Brie is in like 2 scenes and she kind of steals the show. Like, she just plays this kind of like bitchy rich girl character really well. And the Alison Brie scenes were probably the scenes I enjoyed the most in the film.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think this first scene is the one I enjoy the most.
Yes. So they get lunch together, and we learn that Madison used to be friends with Cassie and Nina. And when Nina came to Madison in distress after she was assaulted, Madison spread rumors that she was lying. And Cassie, as revenge, gets Madison drunk at lunch and then hires a man to take her to a hotel room while unconscious to basically trick her into thinking that something may have happened with this man while she was unconscious.
Yeah.
So putting her in the position that Nina was in.
Yes. And afterwards, Madison is super freaked out and like tries calling Cassie's phone multiple times and Cassie just stonewalls her. Yeah, Madison is like that typical like, when women are attacked, she's the one who's like, oh, well, maybe she shouldn't get drunk so much.
Yeah.
Which is a very like real thing.
That is a real thing. And that's probably why I liked this scene, because it felt the most realistic.
Yeah, it felt the most authentic to me.
Where some of the other scenes and the other people's reactions just feel too like pre-written and rote. Where this actually did feel, and I also probably Alison Brie's performance, this felt organic and felt very real.
So the next person Cassie then targets is Elizabeth Walker. She's played by Connie Britton, or is it Britton?
Connie Britton.
Connie Britton.
Yeah, just a lot of like kind of A- list actors in these like 1 or 2 scene roles.
Well, this is a good time to bring up the casting for this is like very purposeful. So they, if I'm remembering this right, the people who are casted in these like offender roles, like these douchey roles, the people who assisted Al to get away with what he did are all people who are like comedians or usually play like very likable characters usually. So like Bo Burnham, Adam Brody, Alison Brie, like they're usually playing like comedic reliefs or like the relatable character or the quirky character. And it's made to kind of have the audience trust them.
Yes.
Or let their guard down around them. And it's kind of supposed to add to the message of like, you know, these nice guys are capable of terrible things. I actually like that choice. I
feel
think
like
it's
I
smart.
like the concept if the writing was better.
Right,
because
if the
all of
script
them
was
are
better.
immediately unlikable stereotypes the moment you meet them.
Even Bo Burnham kind of sucks from the beginning. So Cassie goes to Elizabeth Walker. Elizabeth Walker is the dean who dismissed Nina's case when this attack happened at school. She pretends to be a makeup artist for a band and lures Walker's daughter into her car before meeting with Walker under the guise of wanting to like finish her degree and go back to school. When asked, the dean only like barely remembers Nina or like the case at all.
Yeah, she's like, who? I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
Which feels weird.
Yeah, I thought that was strange too. So Walker justifies her actions of like dismissing the case until Cassie tells her that she has brought her daughter to an all-male dorm, the same one where Nina was attacked. And Walker is like terrified for her daughter's safety. She demands to know where she is. And Cassie's like, I told you she's in the room that Nina was in. Like, kind of like, maybe you should have remembered. And so she inadvertently kind of admits to her own like complicity in the case.
The fact that like she hears her daughter has been dropped off at an all-male dorm and is immediately worried for her safety. So it's like it's Cassie trying to be like, see.
Again, I like the idea of it, but I wish it was more. I agree with you. I wish there was more bite to it. I wish it was something a little bit more. Have you ever seen The Skin I Live In?
Yes.
I wish it was more like that.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that would have been a little too weird for you.
Oh no, I love that movie.
That is shocking to me.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I wish it was something more like that, where it comes to like getting revenge in a really like intense way.
Well, that's the whole thing. And this is something that, this is probably my main issue with the movie, is that Cassie isn't really a character. Cassie is a mouthpiece for like the ideas of the film. So there's this real hesitancy to make Cassie like a real anti-heroine. Like, okay, she has issues and she can't get past the thing that happened to Nina, but she's always fully morally justified in everything.
I was just going to say that. I was like, it sucks because she's not like, I don't even like classifying her as an anti-heroine because she's so justified. It almost doesn't feel like what she does is wrong.
Yeah.
It feels like she's actually the hero.
And especially watching this in tandem with The Favorite and Gone Girl, which are so unafraid to make their female characters complicated and unlikable.
And also like complex as people.
Yes. And aren't just trying to like spoon feed you the message. Like, that's so much more interesting than this. And this just feels like, it feels edgeless. It feels toothless. And honestly, like, it lacks courage.
Yeah.
Even the fact that it's like, okay, so she just lectures them. Like, she doesn't even like hurt them or anything.
Or even like, you don't even have to hurt them. Like, get them fired from their job.
Yeah.
Or like expose them to their families and their friends. Like, nothing like that. They just, and I know the point is like, oh, they have to live with themselves. Point is, bad people like that don't change from things like that.
And I think the fact that all these side characters are so one note, kind of like misogynistic and like not believing women, it just furthers Cassie's complete justification in everything she does. They're so afraid to make her unlikable. And honestly, this is the only film this week that we watched that was directed by a woman, and really disappointing that it's the one with the most one-dimensional female character.
I totally agree with you. I hate saying it because I love supporting female directors, female writers. I love movies with like a complex female lead and female characters who drive the film, especially when it's like about a topic. Because again, I think I can really respect what the movie's trying to do.
But just going to interrupt you here. I literally can't. Like, you don't get credit just for taking part in the conversation. Like, film is art. You should be adding to it and adding like another layer to the conversation.
Well, you just finished what I was going to say.
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But like, it just stinks because I hate being like, oh, Cassie's so one-dimensional. But she really is. Like, she doesn't feel like a human person whatsoever, the way she interacts with other people. And it's not done on purpose because we've shown that she's able to like live in society. She has friends, like the woman she works at the coffee shop with. She has a relationship. She's close with her parents. So it's hard because it's like they say, oh, she's kind of like this weirdo who's shut off from society, but she's also not.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, make up your mind, movie. And then she, again, like just everything she says and the way she acts, it just doesn't feel authentic whatsoever.
Agreed. And another thing, her revenge honestly isn't even that fun to watch because like compared to something like Gone Girl, which we'll talk about next, what's so fun about watching Amy's story play out is this, that her plans and her like plots have this structural integrity that they're so fun to watch. It's, you want to see how she's gonna win.
Right.
Her plans in this are so flimsy, and like half the time you're surprised they work.
I was just gonna say there's so many chances for them to go wrong.
Yeah.
And
that
so
it's like it's not like you're which is what's fun to watch about Amy, or in The Favorite, what's fun to watch about Sarah and Abigail is you get to watch them constantly outsmart everyone around them. I don't buy that she's outsmarting everyone.
No.
Like she's not written clever enough that I believe her to be this like kind of evil genius that the movie's trying to pose her as.
Not at all. The next person Cassie goes to meet with is Al Monroe's lawyer. His name is Jordan Green. And she finds that he is already very remorseful for his actions. This kind of comes as a surprise to her. Cassie chooses to forgive the lawyer and then later visits Nina's mother, who encourages her to move on with her life.
So Cassie and Ryan have continued dating, and they're kind of at the point where they're starting to fall in love with each other. One day, Madison, who is the girl that Cassie like made think she was maybe assaulted when she was drunk, Madison like confronts Cassie outside of her home, and Cassie assures her that like, no, you actually weren't assaulted. Like she was like, oh no, like I know that guy, like he just like put you to bed.
Yeah.
Madison admits that she has now realized that she treated Nina's assault callously, and she gives Cassie a phone that contains a video of the assault. She also tells her that like, oh yeah, and everyone at school like had it. And like
she was like, it was going around for a little bit. I can't believe people were doing that.
And Cassie, who has thought of nothing but what happened to Nina, Cassie had no idea there was a video.
Again, like just a weird like plot like hole. That's like the girl who literally has spent the last however many years of her life
like obsessing.
She didn't know that there was a video going around.
Yeah, and also the fact that the dean had no idea there was a video. Like, you would have, if everyone had it, you would have gotten wind that, like, a video existed.
Cassie watches the video and sees that her boyfriend, Ryan, was also present at this party. So he witnessed the assault and, like, obviously, like, didn't report it or do anything about it. Cassie goes and confronts Ryan, who claims that he was too drunk to remember and, you know, he should be forgiven because he was just a kid. Cassie threatens to release the video and Ryan freaks out. So Cassie forces Ryan to reveal the location of Al Monroe. Remember, this is the guy who actually like assaulted Nina. The location of his bachelor party.
Yes. And Ryan, of course, who was like the nice like boyfriend, he immediately like 180s into the same kind of like misogynistic asshole as every other male character.
Right. He calls her like a failure at one point.
Mm-hmm. The scene just wasn't as impactful for me. Like it wasn't really impactful for me at all.
No. Cassie goes to the bachelor party and poses as a stripper. She drugs the attendees and handcuffs Al to a bed, which is where she reveals her identity and then attempts to carve Nina's name on Al's body with like a little scalpel.
That's like the most violent it gets, and she doesn't even like get to do it.
Would have been so satisfying if she did. When she climbs on the bed, however, to start like carving on his chest, he overpowers her and suffocates her with a pillow, killing her.
No, but finally the film's doing something interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty short-lived though. So the next morning, Al's friend Joe helps him burn Cassie's body in the woods, and Joe is like, we've revealed to be the person who took the video, so he's like a huge sleazebag too. Mm-hmm. And he like comforts Al. He's like, no, it wasn't your fault, it's okay.
And even Al is like, no, it's totally my fault.
Yeah, like, Al is like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah. So weeks later, it's Al's wedding. Ryan is in attendance, and he receives a text from Cassie, which she scheduled to send out before she went to the bachelor party, like basically in case I don't make it back. We learn that Al's former lawyer, who was super remorseful, received a package with the tape of Nina's assault and instructions in case Cassie didn't return. And as we're learning this, we see that the police are arriving at the wedding to arrest Al for her murder. Al is arrested as Ryan receives a final text from Cassie that she signs with both her and Nina's names.
And that's the end of the movie.
I didn't like it. Like, I'm sorry. I really didn't like this movie.
You know, I described this movie as, it's like when we talked about The Menu and we were like, oh, it's like a date night movie. Yeah. This is a much worse version of like a date night popcorn movie.
Yeah. I really tend to get annoyed when like I guess making whatever the message of a film is like so clear that you're being hit over the head with it in every scene at the expense of like plot and character and complexity. I find it really annoying. And it's not like I typically don't enjoy those kinds of films. I like films like the ones we're going to talk about next, Gone Girl or The Favorite, which I think I would consider those far more effective feminist films than this, which is kind of headlined as like, this is a feminist movie.
I completely agree with you. And I actually tend to lean more towards like, I don't mind a movie that like makes its message a little bit more preachy. Like I really don't, as long as I enjoy the movie and I enjoy the characters and the story. But every character in this is just so not a person. Like every single character does not feel real, is given no complexity. It's just not fun to watch.
No.
Again, her revenge is not very satisfying. Again, I really like the idea, and I think it could have been really incredible.
No, this is the really bad execution of a good idea.
Totally. And yeah, it's just upsetting because again, like I always hate to put down female directors and female writers, but like in no way does this movie deserve an Oscar, let alone nominations. Like this is not even like good enough to get like an MTV like movie award.
It's really not. Like it's just not that great of a film. When I saw that it was like mostly positively reviewed, I was genuinely shocked.
Well, keep in mind this did come out during the pandemic, which was
Yeah.
like very little movies were coming out.
And like, let's be honest, I feel like a lot of people are reluctant to give a negative review to something that like wears like a really feminist message on its sleeve.
I'm so happy you brought this up. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but the biggest point I wanted to make about this movie is I feel like a lot of people, if you are against this movie, you're against women, you're anti-women.
Ridiculous,
or like,
I'm sorry.
especially like if you're a woman like we are, like you are like women attacking women, women not supporting women. That's not true because Cassie is, I believe, like kind of almost offensive in the way that she is so one-dimensional. She is not an interesting female character to follow.
No, she is. She's just like,
she is a prop. I'm sorry. I hate to say it.
she's a mouthpiece. She's a prop.
Yeah, she's a prop for, albeit a very important message.
But one that has been communicated in more interesting ways than other pieces of media. So,
And
like, sorry.
And also these other pieces of media leave you discussing more, leave you thinking more, leave you with more of an impact on you.
That's this. It's too afraid to leave you with questions or points of analysis. It has to give you all the answers. So you don't walk away with questions and like things to discuss and meditate on.
It tells you what to think. Yeah.
Which I just hate when films do that. Yeah, for me, I would give this one a 3 out of 10.
I'm going to give it the same. The only like thing that keeps it from like being like a 1 out of 10 is I do think like at the end of the day, yes, it's pushing the message down my throat and I'm very against that, but like it's still a message that is important to know. So like whatever, if someone who was awful watched this movie and changed for the better, I find it very rare. And I
just can't see that happening.
I think there's better movies to watch to do that, but whatever.
All right, now we're getting into the good stuff.
This is the meat and potatoes right here.
Oh yeah. No, we saved this so that like we could, get that one out of the way. Now we get into like the real stuff. First one is 2014 Gone Girl, directed by David Fincher and written by Gillian Flynn, who also wrote the book. So she wrote the book that it was based on and the screenplay.
I always thought it was Gillian Flynn.
It is Gillian.
Learn something new every day. Okay.
And her imprint follows me on TikTok, and I haven't shut up about it. Like, that is my one claim to fame. And so, Gillian Flynn, I know you're watching, girl. I love you.
The movie premiered at the 2014 New York Film Festival, and it was picked up for distribution by 20th Century Fox. It received a wide theatrical release in October of 2014. It's one of the most profitable films of 2014, grossing $370 million worldwide against a $61 million budget. I saw this in theaters. Did you?
No, and I wish I did.
Oh, so good. I mean,
I can only imagine like the electricity at certain scenes.
yes, this is a movie. I really enjoy this movie.
Love this film.
This is a movie that the more, and I've watched it a ton, like
The rewatchability factor of Gone Girl is so high. And this screenplay, of course, like I've read the book, I've read the screenplay. This is one of my favorite screenplays I've ever read. Like, I genuinely think, and I've read a decent amount of screenplays. If I like a film, I'll seek out the screenplay. This is fully one of the best screenplays I've ever read. She is an incredible screenwriter, as well as a brilliant novelist.
So should we just get into it?
Let's get into it. So the film opens on the 5th wedding anniversary of Nick and Amy Dunn. Nick is a writing professor, and on the morning of their anniversary, he goes out to meet his twin sister Margot at their bar that they co-own in this Missouri town. And they meet there, and he kind of admits to her that he's been unhappy in his marriage. When he returns home, he finds the front door has been left ajar and quickly discovers that his wife, Amy, who is played by Rosamund Pike, is missing. And Nick is played by Ben Affleck, this is my favorite Ben Affleck role.
I was going to say the same. I'm not like the biggest Ben Affleck fan. Like, he's in some movies, I think he's great, and he's in other movies, and I'm like, it's fine, whatever. But he plays this version of husband
So perfectly.
so well.
You kind of can't imagine anyone else in this role.
I honestly shocked he didn't get like more like critical praise for this movie.
Agreed. He deserved it. He was really great. And just really funny kind of detail. In the book, Nick is described as having a punchable face. And I feel like Ben Affleck fits that.
Yeah, Ben Affleck specifically, like the way he's like put together in this movie is very like,
there's just something kind of douchey about it.
Yeah, he's not like a loser, but like
No.
he's a little bit kind of loserish,
Yeah.
and he's a little douchey, but he's also like a little pathetic. Like, I don't know, he's very relatable. Like, you all know a father or a husband or a neighbor like Nick.
Yes. So he's looking around the house for his wife. The house shows evidence of a struggle, like the coffee table's overturned, like some of the pictures on their mantle have fallen down, and he calls the police. When detectives Rhonda Boney and Jim Gilpin arrive, Rhonda Boney, who's kind of the main detective, is played by Kim Dickens. They discover traces of blood in the kitchen that suggest that someone tried to mop it up. So like basically that someone was bleeding and then someone cleaned up the blood, which is odd if you're going to kidnap someone.
Right. However, there's no body, there's no witnesses. They're immediately suspicious of Nick, which is like very on par with like a
it's the
missing
husband.
spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say this is probably the biggest issue I have with this movie. The cops in this movie, the actors, fine actors. They do a great job with the roles. And the characters themselves aren't like unlikable or anything. Like the head detective, Rodna, is like really, she's an interesting character. Their police work pisses me off so much. I love like...
You brought this up earlier today, and honestly, I had never really thought about it. I think just because I like the movie so much and I like how dramatic all the scenes are. But when you're talking about it, it's like, actually, yeah, they're not doing things correctly.
They do awful police work. Like, they are like basically interrogating Nick like in his house when they can't record him. They're like showing him all their cards, like... And then they like just let him go. Like at one point in the movie, he goes to the airport and like gets on a plane, and it's like, he is the number one suspect in your possible murder investigation, and you let him get on a plane. He could have left the country. Mm-hmm. Like the police work they do, especially if you are like a true crime fan or like just like know a lot about like police work or how courtrooms work and trial and everything. You're actually getting like mad at the police. You're like, you would never do that in real life. Or if you did, like you just threw this whole case out the window. So that's like my biggest gripe with this movie.
The case of Amy's disappearance immediately starts to garner like a lot of media attention. Amy is like kind of a celebrity because she was the inspiration for her parents' best-selling children's book series, Amazing Amy. And the public is like very captivated by this, you know, intelligent, semi-famous young woman, young like wife who's just like gone missing out of nowhere.
You also have to remember we're in Missouri. Mm-hmm. They're in the suburbs. Like crime is not super relevant here. They're not in New York. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like, oh, this beautiful wife and they had this, you know, nice marriage and they were living in the suburbs and now she's missing. And like this kind of crime doesn't happen here. So of course it's going to like break media attention.
Important thing to note about the film, the first half unfolds in two separate narrative strands. So we see the present day investigation unfolding and which is kind of interspersed by a series of flashbacks from Amy's perspective that are presented as excerpts from her diary. And these scenes track the entire timeline of Nick and Amy's relationship. Like from her perspective. You know, they have their initial whirlwind romance and then tensions start to arise when both Nick and Amy lose their jobs in the recession and they move from New York to Nick's hometown in Missouri, which is where we pick up in real time, to support his dying mother. We learn that their relationship had grown increasingly strained as Nick struggled with depression and unemployment. And the entries suggest that Amy felt really trapped and lonely and even scared of Nick at times as he was prone to like these angry outbursts. We also learned that she did not want to move to Missouri. She wanted to stay in New York. And in Missouri, she feels very trapped into this housewife role.
Yeah, it's also important to note like Amy is not only beautiful, but she is super intelligent.
She's like a genius.
Yeah,
almost.
She's got like a few degrees.
Mm-hmm.
For a while, she was like kind of the breadwinner of the house. So not only does she feel like trapped within this like domesticity,
mm-hmm.
but she also is like feeling like she's not living up to her own potential.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and as the relationship goes on, you know, she clearly is like trying to save their marriage, and it seems very much like Nick has just given up.
Exactly. And again, we learn this from her diary entries.
Yeah, so it's almost like she's kind of narrating the past while we are trying to keep up in the present.
Yes. So in the present, Detective Boney and her forensic team deem that the break-in was staged. Like there are just too many irregularities and too many things that just don't add up.
Mm-hmm.
Boney also learns that Nick has all of these financial issues. And she also learns that Amy recently attempted to buy a gun. And from Amy's diary entries, you know, we learn she felt kind of unsafe around Nick, who's getting angrier and colder towards her.
We also learn from medical reports that Amy was pregnant, and Nick denies knowledge of this.
Yeah, no, Nick is shocked to learn that, or seems shocked to learn that she was pregnant when she disappeared. So she hadn't maybe told him of the pregnancy yet.
We also learn around this time that Nick has been having an affair with a girl named Andy, and Andy is one of his students at the university.
And she's played by Emily Ratajkowski.
It's funny, I didn't know who Emily Ratajkowski was before seeing this movie. Mm-hmm. So every time I saw her afterwards, I was like, oh, that's the girl from Gone Girl. I thought this was like her breakout.
That's so funny.
Yeah. For background, we learn that every wedding anniversary, Amy had set up elaborate treasure hunts for Nick, which I have to say sounds cute for like the first two anniversaries.
Yes.
And then I think I would get really sick of it really quick.
Well, Nick was, when we hear him talking to his sister Margot and saying like every year these treasure hunts have turned into like a challenge of like, how well do I know Amy? And that she kind of is all disappointed and upset when I don't immediately know like what her favorite dessert is or things like that. So he kind of has started to dread these treasure hunts. But of course, when she goes missing, the police are like, well, those might her setting up the treasure hunt, like, are some of her last movements. So let's just track through the treasure hunt.
Yes, and this year's clues appear in different places where Nick and Andy, this is his student, have hooked up, which infers that Amy knew about the affair that was going on.
When Nick realizes this, he describes it as like, oh, she's taking me on a tour of my infidelity.
Amy's clues lead the authorities to her diary, which is what we've been hearing in narration. And we've been kind of seeing Amy write through these like glimpses of the past. The diary was left charred, but still legible in the furnace of Nick's parents' old house.
Mm-hmm. So this is the midpoint of the film. It's also a good point. If you haven't seen Gone Girl,
stop.
Why? And stop and then go watch it and come back. This is probably my all-time favorite film twist.
Yeah, this is like giving like old boy levels of twist. So like just stop where you are right now, go watch it, come back.
Mm-hmm. So by the midpoint, all signs are pointing to Nick's guilt. The public has turned against him. Margot, his sister, is one of the few that are left still defending him, but even she's having doubts now that she's learned that he's been having an affair.
I wouldn't blame her. There's literally no other evidence of like anything going on that Nick hasn't presented, and it still makes him look suspicious.
Yeah, no, he is looking very suspicious. And then, boom, it is revealed that Amy is still alive and is living in a campground in the Ozarks. The moment of this reveal, it switches to a car driving over a bridge, and we hear Amy's voice in narration going, "I'm so glad I'm dead."
It's so...
And you're like, what?
It is so amazing because we've been hearing Amy's narration throughout this movie so far through her diary entries, and the whole time she is presented as like this victim, this wife who like is battered and has been stripped down and like who is scared of her husband. And then the second, and again, we think that she now is dead. So the second you hear the words, "I'm so glad I'm dead," you're like, what? Wait, what?
My favorite thing is watching this movie with people who haven't seen it and like don't know it's coming. Mm-hmm. If you know the twist, I have no interest in watching it with you. But if you just don't know what Gone Girl's about, I'm like, if someone just tells me that, it's like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing right now then. Watching reactions to this twist is just the best. It's such a great moment. And it happens right in the middle of the film. So we learn that Amy conceived an elaborate plan to frame Nick for her murder. She had him ramp up her life insurance, secretly used his credit card to buy thousands of dollars worth of items, which she hid in his twin sister Margot's woodshed. And we heard the police asking Nick earlier about like, oh, you bought like a PlayStation and you bought like a giant TV. And he's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, there's all these like credit card charges for like, and they're all under Amy's name, but it's like things that Amy would never buy.
Amy befriended their pregnant neighbor, told her stories about like Nick being abusive and that he has a temper, and then stole her urine to fake a positive pregnancy test. Because I'm sorry, and like, this is what's so great about Amy's character is she's using perceptions of femininity to manipulate people's viewpoint of her. She knows that her disappearance will hit 20 times harder for the media and the public at large if she was pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just a detail that she didn't even have to go that far, but she knew the impact that would have. She wrote a diary with increasingly fabricated entries and placed it at the end of a treasure hunt, knowing that the police would likely find it.
And keep in mind, like, she comes up with this plan, like, you can only assume a few months before, because it's when she discovers Nick is cheating on her. That is like the final straw.
This is revenge for Nick cheating on her.
Yes. So, like, keep in mind, this diary is supposed to be over the entire span of their relationship. So like she's writing in different pens. She's like, you know, smudging out the pages to make them look older. Mm-hmm. Like she is dedicated.
Oh, yes. On the morning of her disappearance, Amy drained a large amount of her own blood and splattered it around the kitchen and then cleaned it up haphazardly like Nick would.
She plans to eventually end this like master plan by drowning herself and having her body found to ensure that Nick gets the death sentence. I wrote, oh, she hates him. Like, imagine killing yourself just so you guarantee your spouse will die too. Why not just shoot him and then get like murder-suicide?
No, it's like this crazy thing of that she wants him to suffer the most.
She wants everyone to hate him. Like,
in her mind, she's like, you dragged me out to the middle of nowhere, left me alone here. You're clearly losing interest in me. And then you start cheating on me. Like, you took everything from me.
and it's also like, this is why I love Amy as like an anti-heroine and just like as a main character, because it's like I hate to be like, oh, she's crazy, but like, again, if she had just like killed him and then herself, it's like she's the bad guy. But she will die with America loving her and mourning her and thinking she is this like perfect saint. Like, people love Amy, and people will like, Nick will die with everyone thinking he is a monster because Amy hates him that much. Like, she's like, oh no, you can't just like die. You have to be hated in death and I have to be loved in death.
And this reveal is underpinned by this monologue that she gives that's been kind of colloquially dubbed the cool girl monologue, where she talks about how all men want is the cool girl. They want a girl who will sit and eat wings and watch football, but they're still a size 2. And like how they'll do all this adventurous stuff in bed, but then they'll also like get along with your parents and are super chill about just like letting you do whatever you want to do. Like, you want to go hang with your friends? I'm cool. That's fine. And how this version of a woman doesn't exist, but it's every man's ideal. And she talks about how she tried so hard for so long to be the cool girl for Nick, and how she was good at it for a really long time. And the moment she started to show any sense of like maybe being a little unhappy with her circumstances and not loving like the fact that they were in Missouri, he just went and found another cool girl. And it's this great moment that Gillian Flynn's writing really is just incredible. It's this great moment of like, all of a sudden we understand her. Like, because that anger at those constructs is, I think, something that every woman has felt to some extent.
Totally. This is why I really like this movie, especially like comparing it to a movie like Promising Young Woman, where the characters are so one note. It's like, I can never form my opinion on Nick or Amy really like strongly, because part of me is like, oh no, like, girl, you are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you are taking this to a new extreme. Like, keep in mind all the stories about Nick being like abusive.
They're fake.
Amy has made up. So like, yes, Nick is a leech and kind of a shit husband, but like, he's not a villain.
No.
And so, but then part of me is like, well, I mean, Amy really, like, she was so stripped of her identity to the point where really all she had was this marriage that was kind of because of Nick. Like, you know, they both lose their jobs, and then he insists that they move to Missouri, and then he's comfortable and has a life there. And
Because it's his hometown. Like,
it's his
he's back at
hometown. He's
home.
got family. He's got friends. He has a business. He has a job. And Amy is reduced to just, you know, twiddling her thumbs and sitting around at home. And the one thing she has is their marriage that's not really working out anymore. And the fact that like Nick finds another woman, it's like, oh, fuck you. Like, you can understand her anger, but you can't justify her actions.
Oh, at all.
Yeah.
And the film never asks you to like her.
Yeah.
The film never asks you to like her or really tries to give her any sort of super redeeming qualities.
I hate when like people watch this movie and they're like, oh my gosh, no, like Amy's totally in the right. Because I'm like,
Well, no, she's not.
like, you just have no like media literacy.
It's
like,
so true. But that's what's so fun. That's what's great about the film, is that you kind of are rooting for her because she's so clever.
Yeah.
And you want to see like, how is she going to manipulate this situation to come out the winner? And she always does.
Yeah, she is very, very smart.
And she's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, that's what a great anti-hero or anti-heroine is. You don't always have to root for them, but you have a lot of fun watching them.
Exactly. So Nick discovers the loot that Amy has charged on his credit card in Margot's woodshed, and this is when he deduces Amy's scheme. He finally convinces Margot of his innocence and hires a very infamous defense lawyer named Tanner Bolt. He is played by... Who's he played by?
He's played by Tyler Perry.
Yes, I was forgetting his name for a second. I was like, he's crazy famous. I was like, I know who it is, but I'm just blanking on his name.
And like, okay, weird thing. Tyler Perry, when the movie came out, was like, yeah, if I had known at the time that David Fincher was like this really famous director, I probably wouldn't have done the movie. Why?
Maybe because he's a director too, and like
Yeah, but like that's so weird. Like,
I don't know. I'm happy he did it though,
yeah, he's really good.
He's really good in the role that he plays. Like,
he's kind of perfectly cast for this.
yeah. So Nick also meets with two of Amy's ex-boyfriends. One is Tommy O'Hara, who claims that Amy framed him for a sexual assault after he ended their relationship.
Yeah, so we see that like this is not her first rodeo.
Yes. And
The way that he, like, what she did to this guy is like evil genius level of framing.
yeah, I mean, she really goes the extra mile. The other ex-boyfriend is a wealthy guy named Desi Collings. He's played by Neil Patrick Harris, who Amy once filed a restraining order against for stalking. And he is like super cold towards Nick and refuses to speak with him.
Yes.
And you find out that like him and Amy like were exchanging letters or something.
Yeah. I think it's that thing of like maybe she liked that this guy was like still a little obsessed with her, but then just like didn't want him in her hair anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think
And that's kind of his thing, is that he's like obsessed with her.
he's obsessed with her. I also think it's very in character of Amy to be like, I'm going to use you when it's convenient for me.
Yes.
And when it's not, like, get out of here. And I think Desi, I mean, he does. He becomes very convenient for her later in the movie. But like, I'm sure that's kind of what has happened throughout the relationship.
100%. So Amy, who is staying in this campground in the Ozarks, is robbed by two of her neighbors. And this is sort of the first speed bump that she's faced so far. Everything has gone according to plan.
Yeah.
Except this. Like, this is the thing that sets her a little off track. So now that she's kind of stranded with no money, she ends up calling that guy Desi, Neil Patrick Harris, for help. And she convinces him that she fled from Nick because he was abusing her, and really kind of plays up this abused,
Battered wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Desi is just like, oh, he feels so bad for her. And he agrees to hide her away in his lake house.
I can't with Neil Patrick Harris in this movie. He is the one casting choice I'm a little like,
It kind of works.
like it kind of works because like Desi is so like wealthy and like a little posh, but like, I don't know. I can't look at him in like a serious role after like
Yeah.
watching How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Tanner Bolt, who's the lawyer, convinces Nick to reveal his affair on a popular talk show to kind of like seize the narrative from the media.
Before he can do that, though, the thing that they didn't want to happen happens, and Andy comes out publicly and reveals the affair at a press conference. Nick still insists on going through with the interview, and he actually does really well in the interview. He affirms his innocence and like feigns regret for his shortcomings as a spouse. Now that he knows that, like, and he is certain, he's like, she's alive out there and she has orchestrated this. So he kind of does this thing where he talks directly to her in the interview and signals that he knows what's up. And his remorse for like the affair and everything seems very genuine.
So the interview is a huge success and garners widespread sympathy for Nick. However, the detective has discovered the woodshed and Amy's diary. So Nick is arrested and Margot is arrested as well for withholding information. So now they're arresting him for murder, but they still
Yes.
don't have Amy's body because she's clearly alive.
At the lake house, where Amy has now been staying at Desi's lake house for a few weeks, Amy is growing increasingly annoyed with Desi's like constant attention, and he's very controlling. And her attraction to Nick is rekindled a little bit when she watches the interview and maybe realizes that he's caught up with her.
Oh, it's it's so hilarious to me. Like, just the fact that she can even be like it's like, girl, you're about to put him on death row.
Yeah.
Like, that just shows how unhinged Amy is.
She is. And I think what also plays into it is she's growing to kind of hate Desi staying with him. So then it's like, wait a sec. Like, maybe that actually wasn't so bad.
I mean, I don't think she ever really likes Desi,
No.
but keep in mind, he is a stalker. So, like, when Amy first comes back to him, she's like put on weight and dyed her hair. And he's like, we need to get you looking like the old you again, because he's like in love with.
There's a part where he like takes a bowl of ice cream from her.
Yeah, out of her hands. And so then like, but she plays the part very well. She gets back in shape. She dyes her hair again. So now realizing that Amy wants to get away from Desi and kind of like return back to Nick, she starts staging that she's being held a captive there. Again, Amy's very smart.
Oh, when you start to...
In the most sinister way, by the way.
When you realize what she's doing and also are seeing the lengths that she's going to, it's like scary.
Yeah, she self-inflicts wrist and vaginal injuries to herself and then uses the security cameras around the lake house to make it appear as if Desi kidnapped her and like keeps her there, as like a prisoner. She then seduces Desi one night and gets him into bed and then takes a letter opener and cuts his throat while they're in the middle of intercourse.
It's so shocking too, the scene, because you're not given any insight beforehand into what she's planning. When she like takes it out from behind the pillow.
Yeah, you're like,
and you're like, shit. Oh, okay.
Also disturbing, but such a great detail is they're having intercourse and she waits for him to finish so that there's DNA evidence. That wine bottle scene, I actually have to walk away every time I watch it.
Really?
Yeah, it literally like it I just like go into shock.
Yeah, her kind of inflicting the injuries one might sustain in a sexual assault on herself. It's not fun.
Oh my God.
Not fun to watch.
It's like painful just to like think about
and
it.
And her just like blank-eyed determination.
Dead look.
Yeah.
She is like, it's like doing a job.
Yes.
It's terrifying. So Desi is obviously dead. She returns home covered in blood.
So dramatic. She comes out of the... She
like crashes her car.
And then comes out all the paparazzi in front of Nick's house and she's covered in blood and just like collapses into Nick's arms. Like she's playing to the cameras so hard. Nick is
furious.
Shocked and then just mad.
He calls her a bitch.
Yeah.
So the FBI believes Amy's version of events. They go in and interview her at the hospital. Everything, there's DNA evidence, there's camera footage. So they believe her when she tells this story and they quickly close the case because she's back home and safe and the offender is dead.
Yes. And the only one who's still a little doubtful is Detective Boney, who was so convinced that Nick killed her and is so like, because she's like, how could there be all this weird evidence that shows that it was staged? Also, and like, you're alive. Like, she's confused. So she's the only one who's a little doubtful of Amy's version of events.
Yeah. Also, like, Amy has set Nick up to be this, like, horrible, abusive monster of a husband who's, like, one step away from killing her. And then when she gets back, she's like, oh, I just want to return to my husband. And so Detective Boney is like, there were some very serious allegations made in your diary. And Amy's trying to, like, just kind of like skip past that. And then there's all the stuff with the credit cards. So like she's the only one. Keep in mind, she's also been like checking in with Nick throughout this whole thing. So she, as the movie goes on, kind of like sees there's more to this than...
Especially now that like Amy's not dead.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, something weird is going on.
Yeah, but there's quite literally nothing she can do. So upon returning home, Amy tells Nick the truth. She makes him get in the shower with her so she
can make sure that he's not mic'd.
She admits the truth to Nick and says that she like did murder Desi. She states that Nick is the one who pleaded for her to return on national TV And, you know, she's the one.
And like that version of him that she saw on TV is the one that she wants to be with now. And it's this slightly threatening thing of like, you now know what I'm capable of. Be that guy for me now.
Yeah, I mean, he like tucks her into bed and she is so like calm and serene. And he's like, Amy, you're a murderer. Yeah. Like you killed someone. And she is so like calm and collected. She's basically like, so.
And he's terrified of her.
He can't sleep in the house.
He like sleeps in a separate room and locks the door.
Do you blame him? Like,
no.
So
we pick up with them like maybe a week later.
Yeah.
And there's going to be Amy has set up a televised interview to take place at their home. And Nick is planning to go on TV and tell them that Amy set this whole thing up. She was a liar. We see him in the bathroom, like practicing what he's going to say to himself in the mirror.
He's also planning to leave her.
Yes. And Amy is anticipating this. And she, minutes before they're about to go on camera, tells Nick that she's pregnant. She has inseminated herself with Nick's sperm from a fertility clinic that he donated to like years ago. It was like 2 years before when they were thinking about having kids. And she was the one that backed out initially. Nick reacts like violently at first. Like he puts her up against a wall.
Yeah, he shoves her right up against the wall.
I mean, listen, I don't condone violence against women. In this case, I'm like, I might have killed her if I was in his shoes. I would have freaked out.
That is a lifetime with her, regardless if he like actually leaves her or not. But now she is connected to him for the rest of his life.
And she's like, what are you going to do? Like, your wife was kidnapped, returns home, and is now pregnant. Like, how is that going to look if you leave your pregnant wife?
Right. Like, everyone will hate you. You'll never be able to live this down.
So he decides to stay with her. And despite Margot being like, this is insane, like, you have to leave, he's like, I can't. Like, I also don't feel safe, like, leaving our child with her.
Yeah, but then Margot makes a great point, and she's like, you want to stay. Like, and Nick doesn't really have an answer for that.
That I wasn't obsessed with, because, like, does he want to?
I think Nick doesn't want to, but I think Nick is also lazy, and I think it's easy for him to stay than to leave. Like, you know, and be hated by the nation.
Yeah.
It's easier for him to stay with her. So not so much that he wants to be with Amy, but more so like, yes, he's afraid to leave, but also like it's going to take a lot of effort for him to leave that he just doesn't have in him.
Yeah, that's fair. And then on television, the happy couple announces that they're expecting a child. And that's the end of the film. So good. It's so
good. Yeah.
Oh, God. Just the way that the twists and turns are executed are just with absolutely pitch perfect precision.
Yeah. This is also a long movie, and the pacing of it really helps.
Yeah. It never feels overly long because there's so many twists and turns as it goes on. This is definitely a favorite of mine. I really like this film. I've seen it a bunch of times. I love watching it with other people. Like, it's a kind of a perfect thriller. Like, it's kind of a perfect crime thriller.
Yeah, it's just a great movie. Like, it's just super solid. Well, one of my favorite things about this movie is the very beginning shot and the very end shot. So the movie opens with Nick kind of like petting Amy, and we see Amy's face looking up at Nick, and it's like a close-up shot, and the movie ends with the same type of shot, except now it's the end of the movie and Amy's a bit different. And I love how innocent and angelic she looks in the opening shot.
And then in the final shot, she's like looks calculating.
Oh, she's so cunning. She's like a snake, like looking at her prey. It is so good. Like, when the movie ended, I immediately went back to the beginning to watch the first shot, and like watching them back to back. Again, it's basically the same shot, but Rosamund Pike's change in performance is so good.
She is outstanding in this film. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress at that year's Academy Awards. I really think it's a shame she didn't win.
Yeah, she totally deserved it.
She really deserved that win. This is like one of my favorite just performances ever in a film. Like, she's so great in this and so perfectly cast. You couldn't imagine anyone else doing this role better than she did.
No, her cool girl monologue is like so iconic for a reason.
Oh my God. The last time I watched it, it was with like a group of girls. And when she starts that monologue, we're all like, okay, all rise for the national anthem. Yeah. I used to have that monologue printed out on my wall.
I hate to like shit on Promising Young Woman more than we already have, but like this is such a great movie because unlike that movie, it leaves you discussing. Like, some people are more kind of Team Nick and some people are more like Team Amy, and some people are like me who just kind of like who sympathize with them both but don't, like, I can't ever form like a solid thought.
Well, that's also the thing, like, especially comparing it to Promising Young Woman, which is so scared of making Cassie not in the morally righteous position. Fincher and Gillian Flynn, like, they make you watch Amy go to like the darkest places a human can go and like kind of just, and you like her, like you want to watch her.
Oh, well, she's just so smart.
She's so smart that you can't wait to see how everything plays out. And that's what makes her a great character, is she's not in the morally right ever really in the film. She's a bad person and a sociopath.
I was gonna say she's a psycho.
Yeah, just a great film. One of my favorite anti-heroines of all time. Like, if you haven't seen it, like, just go watch it. You're doing a disservice. You're really missing out. Gone Girl for me is a 9 out of 10.
Gone Girl for me is, I would say, like an 8 out of 10. Like, it's not one of my favorite movies ever, but it is just so strong, and it's a movie that like I love to show people, like you said, like who don't, especially who've never seen it before. And yeah, it's just like it's just a great example of like complex characters.
Yes.
So the final movie we are talking about today, Olivia's all-time fave.
It's in my Letterboxd top 4. It is called The Favorite, and it's also one of my favorites.
It is made in 2018. It is a dark comedy directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, as
King.
Olivia is sporting in her hat.
I also, my phone background is also directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. And sometimes when I'm wearing the hat and then like I take out my phone, it's like, maybe this is a little much.
It's a little cult vibes.
Yeah. But I love Yorgos Lanthimos. He is a Greek director. His first few films were Greek language films, and he's been making English language films since I think 2016, starting with The Lobster. I've seen every single one of them. I've never like ranked any one of his films less than an 8 out of 10. I love him. His brand of weird speaks to me in a way that I can't quite explain.
Because I'm so 50-50 on weird movies. Some movies I love and some movies I'm like, no, too weird for me. And most, if not all of his movies are like the weird movies that I love. So the movie was written by Deborah Davis and Tony McNamara. It premiered at the 2018 Venice Film Festival and was picked up for distribution by Fox Searchlight. It received a very limited theatrical release in November of 2018 and was nominated for 9 Academy Awards and won 1.
Yes. Miss Olivia Colman, who plays Queen Anne in the film, won Best Actress. Well,
so
fucking deserved.
And that was a good year for the Oscars. Like, that was the same year A Star Was Born. That was a very
competitive
year, but she absolutely deserved it.
That was one of the happiest times I've ever been at like an award win.
Also, her speech is so great.
I know.
She is just so fun and genuine.
The film was also nominated for Best Production Design, Best Film Editing, Best Costume Design, Best Cinematography, Best Original Screenplay, Best Supporting Actress for both Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone, who are supporting in the
supporting
film.
leads, yeah.
And Best Director and Best Picture.
Setting the scene, it is the year 1705. England is at war with France. Queen Anne, who is Olivia Colman's character, is in poor health. She shows very little interest in governing, and she prefers activities such as eating cake and playing with her 17 rabbits instead.
Yes, she is not stable.
Oh, no.
No.
She is the definition of unstable.
Yes, she's very childlike. She's very immature. She's whiny. She also is in very poor health. She has gout and like a series of other issues. And her health worsens and worsens as the film goes on, which is true to Queen Anne's life. This is a real person she's playing. Out of the 3 female leads, and you can kind of call them all anti-heroes in their or anti-heroines in their own way.
They all share the qualities of an anti-heroine for sure.
Yes, she's probably the most sympathetic out of all of them, just because she is shown to be so unstable.
Yes, like you said earlier, there's a almost like childlike quality to her that is hard not to pity in certain situations.
Yes, even though she does also show that she is capable of manipulating the power that she wields.
Absolutely. Her confidant and advisor, Sarah Churchill, this is Rachel Weisz's character, is the effective ruler of the country, as she is the only person with like any real influence over the queen.
Yes, they're childhood friends, and she's really the queen. She's kind of the queen's like bestie.
Yeah, and she's the only one who can like kind of tell the queen, or like not put her in her place, but kind of tell her off without like being executed, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Sarah's efforts to control Anne and control her political decisions are often undermined by Robert Harley, who is played by Nicholas Hoult, who we love.
We love him.
And he's so good in this.
He's amazing.
Harley is the leader of the opposition in Parliament. He's the leader of the Tories. And Sarah's husband is the leader of the Whigs, which right now is the Whigs are in favor with the Queen.
Yes. So one morning, Abigail Hill, who is Emma Stone's character, this is also Sarah's impoverished younger cousin, arrives at the palace in search of employment. Abigail was once a lady, but her social standing has been tainted by her father, who gambled her away in a game of whist.
Yes. Her father was like a chronic gambler who eventually, he accidentally set his own house on fire and died in the blaze.
Sarah is assigned to do kind of like menial work as a scullery maid around the palace.
Mm-hmm. And she sleeps on the floor.
Yeah, and she's
a servant, and the conditions that she lives in when she first enters the palace are very heavily contrasted by the sheer opulence that the Queen and Sarah live in.
So after becoming aware that Queen Anne has gout, Abigail forages herbs and makes a little like medicinal like kind of balm for her, which she sneaks into the Queen's chamber and applies.
Yes.
And this is like a huge no-no.
Yeah, she's caught, and she's just like, I just saw how much pain she was in, and I felt really bad for her and I know these herbs, and I know that they'll help her. But Sarah has Abigail whipped because she's like, you entered the Queen's chambers without permission and like put something on her. Like
right, when she was like,
when she's asleep, like you shouldn't have access to the Queen.
Yeah.
So she orders that Abigail is whipped, but actually ends up promoting her to Lady of the Bedchamber. So basically now she's just like more of a handmaid than a scullery maid.
Yeah.
After the Queen says that, oh, like, what is this? This has really helped me, actually.
Yeah, she has these like lesions, and it's like kind of helps soothe the pain that she's feeling. So one night, Abigail witnesses Sarah and the Queen having sex. I didn't know how saucy this movie was.
I know.
This was a first watch for me.
Yes, this happened super unexpectedly. We as viewers get no wind that this is a part of their relationship, that there's like a sexual element to the Queen and Sarah's friendship until this moment.
Yeah, we are right with Abigail with like that shock.
There's this great look that Emma Stone does when she realizes what's going on. just like sheer shock.
Yeah, it is so, I mean, all three women are just so strong in their respective roles.
Yes.
And it really shines in like these more comedic moments. I mean, the whole movie is a comedy, but like there are some moments that just really stand out.
The just like one-liners throughout the film are so funny. Like, we're not like getting into just how funny this film is.
Yeah.
We're not even gonna get there. But yes.
So she sneaks out of the room and runs into Harley, who then asks Abigail to spy on Sarah and the Queen. He hopes to undermine Sarah's political authority because, again, they're a part of differing political parties. Abigail refuses and tells Sarah, also implying that she like knows about her and the Queen.
Yeah, she's like, no, I would never tell anyone any of your secrets, even your biggest secret. And Sarah fires they're like shooting
Yes,
birds.
they're
It's a
shooting
great scene.
guns. Yeah.
They're shooting guns, and Sarah fires a blank at her and is like, sometimes you forget to load the pellet if you're not careful.
And Abigail is terrified.
Yeah. Sarah is a real Machiavellian sort of character. She is politically ambitious and kind of willing to do whatever it takes in regards to her relationship with the Queen and her relationships with people in Parliament to further her and her husband's ends.
Yes. Soon after, Sarah is unavailable to entertain the Queen and sends Abigail in her place.
And because the Queen like can't be left alone, like she needs like a companion there to just like hang out with her, essentially.
Because she's
like
a child. Yeah.
Abigail arrives and they play with the Queen's rabbits. Anne then tells her, this is again just a really beautiful emotional scene from Coleman and Emma Stone. The Queen tells her that she has 17 rabbits because they're all essentially surrogates for the 17 children that she has miscarried or who died in infancy.
That I didn't know, and that like was unexpected how sad that made me.
That is also a true fact about Queen Anne. And it is very much said that Queen Anne's state at this point in her life and mental deterioration had a lot to do with dealing with so much loss.
I could only imagine.
Yeah. I mean, what a horrible thing. And Abigail is, you know, very moved by this and is like, no, like let's play with them. Like let's like play with the rabbits. And Sarah has always been very vocal about thinking the rabbits are morbid.
Yes.
So the Queen maybe this is a little refreshing for the Queen. So from this, Abigail and Queen Anne start to kindle a friendship. And Abigail, who is aware of Sarah and the Queen's relationship, seduces the Queen.
That's also a great scene.
When you realize what her plan is. And also Abigail has been positioned from the beginning as she's this poor girl who lost everything. And like, she's just trying to like kind of climb back up a little bit. But she is on Sarah's side and just wants like Sarah's trust. She's positioned as a heroine at the beginning.
Absolutely.
And then seeing these little moments of manipulation and cunning from Abigail, they happen slowly. And then you kind of realize like, oh, so that was all an act.
Right. So you're actually just as bad as them. When Sarah becomes aware of Abigail and Anne's new relationship, she unsuccessfully tries to get Abigail removed from her position.
Yes. The Queen does not allow this because, and this is where the Queen is also a little bit of an anti-hero in this, she kind of likes that they're both fighting over her in a sense.
Totally.
And she enjoys playing Sarah and Abigail off of each other and watching them kind of battle for the Queen's affection.
The movie is called The Favorite for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about who's in favor and what it takes to get in favor. I mean, I think there's an argument to be made that the Queen is not a lesbian. All she wants throughout the entire film, love and affection. Those are the things that her position as queen, she's consistently denied. She lost so many children. Like, is this a comfort affection thing? or because we never really hear anything about how she's like specifically attracted to either of these women.
That's true. It kind of seems like it comes from her loneliness.
And it does become quite clear that both Abigail and Sarah they have sexual relationships with her in order to get in her favor.
Right. I mean, Sarah is married.
Yeah. And seems to have like a really good relationship with her husband.
Yeah, totally.
Like from what we see of them, they seem like a couple.
A normal couple. So you're right. There's no sexual attraction on Sarah or Abigail's part.
I would argue that probably.
And I think you're right. I think Anne's doesn't come from a place of lust. More so it comes from a place of loneliness.
Yes. 100% agreed with you.
So Sarah and Abigail enter a very tense strategic rivalry while each attempting to manipulate Anne emotionally and physically. Abigail secretly aligns herself with Harley. This is the guy who's in the opposing political party, and the Tories to strengthen her position.
Yes, and this is really where the lines are drawn. Like, we are now fighting against each other.
Yeah, and I like how this movie shifts into like a political rivalry too.
Yes.
I mean, it's always there in the background, but like I like this point where it just becomes a bit more prevalent.
Yes, agreed. Abigail has kind of realized, like, okay, I've made a very powerful enemy. I need to take her out of the game. So Abigail drugs Sarah's tea one morning, and the poison comes into effect when Sarah's horseback riding, and she falls off the horse but is still in the stirrups, so she's literally just like being dragged for miles.
It is so hard to watch.
Yeah, like she is very severely injured. And she is taken in by the madam of a brothel. And watching Sarah, who is like a lady, wake up in the brothel is one of the funniest parts of the movie.
It is such a highlight. And Rachel Weisz is so funny. I feel like people don't realize like how comedic she can be because she's usually like in more serious roles.
Yes. As Sarah, she is acerbic and cold and blunt. But in like genuinely the funniest way, she hits every single comedic beat that the character is meant to.
Yeah, she is so underrated in my opinion.
No, agreed.
So Anne, thinking that Sarah has abandoned her when she's actually injured in this brothel, takes Abigail into her favor and allows her to marry a man, Colonel Masham.
Yeah, who's played by Joe Alwyn.
So this reinstates Abigail's noble standing as a baroness, which is like really why she came back.
Yes. And now basically she doesn't know if Sarah's alive or dead, but now she has the title. Like she's
on equal ground.
She is now on equal ground, if in name, but she is. Like she can't be fired anymore.
No. Abigail helps Harley influence the queen to change her standing on the war. Mm-hmm. And when Sarah returns to the palace, Abigail offers a truce, but Sarah's like, fuck you.
So Sarah now has a giant scar running across her face, and she walks back into this room where all the ladies are sitting. They're like watching someone perform opera. Mm-hmm. Sarah is so disheveled and now like borderline disfigured.
Yeah.
And I think Abigail is shocked to see her, and she goes, oh, like what happened to you? Just a great one-liner from a film filled with great one-liners. She goes, hell, I'm sure you'll pass through it one day.
It's so good. And the delivery is so perfect. Mm-hmm. So Sarah issues an ultimatum to the queen: change your stance on the war and send Abigail away, or she will publicly disclose letters that detail the sexual relationship that the queen has been having.
Yes. The queen is genuinely like really offended by this because, again, they have been friends since they were children.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's like, you have always been my closest friend and ally. And
this is like a betrayal.
It is a betrayal. And Sarah is immediately regretful that she threatened this and burns the letters as soon as she gets back to her room, because she was just like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, that was cruel. And the thing is, Sarah cares about Anne.
Yes, they are shown to be very close.
Yeah, and even though she does use her relationship with Anne to further her own ends, she genuinely cares about her.
She doesn't wish her any type of harm or like harassment.
A great example of that is Anne has, like, again, she's very sickly, like she can't eat sugar. And when they're sitting together and there was a scene where she asked for hot chocolate and Sarah was like, no, like, what are you thinking? You can't eat that. So it's this kind of like tough love thing, but it's like, no, you'll just make yourself sick. Why would you eat that? Where someone like Abigail, who doesn't have a relationship with Anne and doesn't really respect Anne at all, is like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, let's get hot chocolate.
Yeah, because she just wants to make her happy.
Exactly. It's all about just like making her happy in the moment and like hoping that the queen wants to keep her around, where Sarah genuinely cares about her.
Yeah, I mean, her burning the letters though doesn't work. Not that it's meant to work, but Anne is furious and banishes her as like punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's hurt. It's like the worst kind of friend breakup.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, she feels completely betrayed.
Understandable.
Months later, Sarah's husband persuades her to write to the queen to mend their friendship, and tells Anne to expect a letter from Sarah.
Yes. Abigail hears word of this, and she is now the queen's favorite. She is now the advisor.
She has stepped into Sarah's role.
Yes. She decides to kind of overplay her hand and forges evidence that Sarah has been embezzling money. And when she presents it to the queen's like, Sarah would never do that.
Yeah, I love this moment because Sarah is very clever. And I feel like the movie does a good job of showing Abigail is clever, but she is like just not on the same level as Sarah.
No, she's not. What she is crueler.
Yes.
And the fact that she's willing to go places that maybe Sarah wouldn't be willing to go. Like, Sarah would never poison Abigail. So her cruelty gives her an edge over Sarah.
Yes.
But she's just not as smart as her.
I think the perfect way to say it is Sarah is intimidating and Abigail is deceitful.
Yes, that's so perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she overplays her hand here. The queen, and I think in this moment, the queen sees who Abigail is.
Yeah, totally.
I think she sees her for who she is. But at this point, the queen has now had multiple strokes. Like, half of her face doesn't move. She is so helpless.
She's so physically beaten down, and also like her closest advisor has betrayed her. And now her new close advisor is lying to her. And so it's kind of like, not only is she physically beaten down, but she's so like, who does she have?
Exactly. So she doesn't get rid of Abigail, but I do think that this is the moment where she sees who she is.
Yeah. Sarah's letter arrives. However, Abigail intercepts it and burns it.
Oh, that part was hard to watch.
I know.
Anne is obviously extremely hurt that she never received a letter from her, and kind of lashes out at her again and decides to exile Sarah and her husband, which again, that's very sad.
Yeah.
It's a friend breakup, and Anne's kind of a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And is acting immaturely, but you understand the hurt.
So with Sarah gone and Abigail's position now like fully solidified, Abigail begins to ignore Anne while indulging in the pleasures of her new title and high society, which
we see her just like acting a mess at a banquet. Like, really just, she is gluttonous and cruel, and just, she's not a good person, and now she's allowed to exist in a place where that's okay.
So one day Anne witnesses her abuse of one of the rabbits. Oof.
This final scene is the thing for me that solidifies this film as like, this isn't just a really good film, this is a great film.
Yeah, this ending is
so poignant.
Yeah.
So Anne witnesses Abigail stepping on one of the rabbits and kind of pressing down on him, just like because she can.
Because she's like a sadist.
No, she is. And Anne is really angered by this. She like stumbles out of bed and orders Abigail to like rub my leg. And Abigail does. She has to.
She's
works
the
for the
queen.
queen. And she kind of like pulls on Abigail's hair while she's massaging her. And as this is happening, their faces start to get superimposed over each other. And then slowly an image of all of the rabbits fades in and is superimposed over that. And then we slowly fade to black on those 3 layered images, which, I mean, the way that the rabbits are basically lesser surrogates for her children who she lost.
Right.
Abigail is the lesser surrogate for Sarah. Abigail's not a real friend. Like, Abigail doesn't care about her. Sarah was a real friend who cared about her.
Yeah.
And when she's warning her about Abigail, yes, there's jealousy there, but she was also right.
Right. She was being genuine. Abigail is a little bit of a snake.
And also, no matter how much favor and power Abigail gains, what she really is the queen's pet.
Damn.
Like, she still has to answer to the queen, and her position is still dependent on staying in the queen's favor. And also, great detail how the rabbits literally live in gold cages. They literally live in a gilded cage.
Yeah.
It's just so poignant, so beautiful. That was when I first saw it. I was also a little like, wait a sec, like, what does this mean? And after like sitting with it and talking to so many people about it, it's just one of my favorite closing shots of all time. It really ties the whole film together, and it's deeply tragic.
Yeah. One thing I love is about this ending is like, you realize that throughout this movie, again, Sarah is the only one who can kind of like put her foot down with the queen and oppose her at times, and not, again, like have the threat of execution under her. Abigail doesn't have that.
No.
Like, she's not the queen's lifetime bestie. She's a stranger. And yes, they've gotten close, but like, there's not those years of understanding and knowing each other and being friends. Like,
and again, Abigail doesn't care about her. Abigail just wants to make her role is like keeping the queen happy in the moment.
Yeah. And I would argue that Queen Anne kind of knows that at the end.
Oh, I think she
and
absolutely
that's why
knows
she's
that.
like, massage my leg.
No, because that's the only thing she has now
Yeah.
is the power she wields over Abigail.
Yep.
It's so sad for both of them. Even Abigail, who's kind of horrible and cruel. There is something sad about like, oh yeah, at the end of the day, like, you did all that and you're still kind of under this crazy woman's thumb.
Yeah.
Like we said when we talked about Parasite a few weeks ago, I love when every single element of a film works together to further its message or its intention. And everything in The Favorite is so intentional. And that's so obvious.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen too many Yorgos Lanthimos movies. The ones I have seen, I really enjoy. But like, this makes me want to like go out and watch the rest of his movies.
I always have trouble picking a favorite Lanthimos, but this is always like in the discussion of my favorites of his. Sometimes I just like, teeter back and forth, but this is probably my favorite one of his films.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Really? I'm going 10. Like, I am going a 10.
I
this is
knew
a 10
you
out of
would.
10 for me. This is everything I look for in a film.
I think the only thing that's holding it back is, again, like, sometimes it was a little like grotesque.
Yeah.
Which I just like have a crazy stomach. But like, everything that matters to me in this movie is like just so solid. And so it's just an enjoyable experience. I also think it holds me back a little bit just because like, this isn't a movie I feel like you can recommend to anybody. I think it is teetering on just because.
Possibly. I will say though, my mother, who hates weird things, like, she can't stand, she like really liked this one.
Really?
Yeah, because I think she thought it was funny, and she was
it is.
It's so funny. And like, the plot is fascinating. This was a really fun week, other than Promising Young Woman.
You know what? I actually enjoyed watching Promising Young Woman in comparison to the others two.
Yes.
Because
I feel
Emerald Fennel, but it reminded me of like, here's what not to do and here's what you should be doing.
Yes. That honestly is exactly how I felt about watching these three together. And real shame that, the only female director is the one who kind of wrote the most one-note anti-heroine.
Yeah, that's always a disappointment.
Unfortunately. But
We
otherwise, had a lot of fun this week.
Yeah, I did too. I enjoyed it more than last week when we did Antiheroes. And I'm excited for next week too.
Me too. So next week, we will be talking about serial killers.
I am so excited, Olivia.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a fun one. We are watching American Psycho, Death Proof, and I Saw the Devil, which I've never seen I Saw the Devil, and I'm really excited to watch it.
I recently just watched one of these movies. Loved it. And the other two I have either not seen or haven't seen in a long, long time.
I haven't seen American Psycho in a very long time.
I don't think I've actually ever seen it start to finish, like all the way through. I think I've just seen it like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit of the ending here. But I love true crime, and I have a weird, like, morbid curiosity about like serial killers. So I'm specifically excited to talk next week.
Yeah, no, it'll be a fun one. And we hope that you guys watch along with us and then tune in to chat about it.
I'm Maggie.
I'm Olivia.
Bye.
Bye.